Superthirst, Cindy here. Sorry if this video is a little shaky, I don't exactly have a place to put my phone. But anyway, let's talk about that recent WandaVision episode, which basically showed about 99% of the 99% of the trailers that we didn't see, that didn't have any Sakami stuff connected to it. And I'll be honest with you guys, this was the very first episode I actually watched all the way through on my very first watching. The other times I just skipped to the end and watched the post-credits scene and that sort of thing. This one I watched all the way through because it's stuff that I live for. I love scary dark magic. I love this episode was my wheelhouse of awesome. But okay, this episode at least answered a couple questions. Well, at least one question for me. And that one question, this current one question, if Wanda broke into Sword or Shield or whatever, if Wanda broke into a government HQ, why were the agents not reacting to her? And this episode revealed because she didn't break in. She was allowed in, and she didn't steal Vision. So, now I got another question. Why did Haywood lie? I mean, why would he lie about what Wanda did? I mean, they had the parts to Vision. They still have the parts to Vision. And yet, they're trying to do something to Wanda. Well, I say that, and I'm going to get to that in a second. Now, I love what they did with this episode. They basically... I don't know... I'm not a doctor or a psychiatrist or whatever you have to be to say this is a good idea, but to me, I think it is. You have to face your trauma in order to move past it. And really, that's what Wanda did. She faced her parents' death. She faced being back in Hydra. She faced Vision dying and having to deal with the fact that she couldn't pay Vision any sort of respects. I genuinely think that's actually going to make her even stronger. Because, in my opinion, as soon as you face what traumatizes you, you will feel stronger. You'll feel better about yourself. That's how I feel. Again, I am not a psychiatrist. I am not a psychological person. I am just that is just how I see it. So I could be completely wrong. Now, onto that post-credit scene. What Haywood was actually doing, he was creating white Vision. Which makes a lot of sense, since the Mind Stone is really what gave Vision, our Vision, his personality and stuff. Because remember back in Infinity War? Wanda said, "I just feel you." And she was using her magic to soothe the Mind Stone. Which means that Wanda was sensing Vision through the Mind Stone. The Mind Stone was basically Vision. That was his life source. That was his soul. Literally his soul. The Mind Stone didn't just give him life. It gave him life it was his... If he didn't have this, he would die. It was his soul. And that's important because what Haywood did to power this new Vision was he took the energy that was seeping from the Stark missile that, barely missed Pietro and Wanda, that Wanda just somehow used magic on to keep it from killing Pietro and Wanda. He was trying to siphoned off the chaos magic from that had surrounded that for at least 20 years, he was siphoned off the chaos magic from that to power up this white vision. Now, the thing about white vision is he's actually a character in the comics, but he's basically a soulless, mindless machine. Basically, everything that Vision is not, our Vision is not. And the fact that Haywood said that they tried to rebuild Vision so many times with so many different power sources indicates that what Haywood was wanting to do was not create a Jarvis, he did not want to create a soul-filled attacker. A weapon with a soul, or a weapon with a mind of its own, was going to go against its creator. That's basically what happened with Ultron when he created Vision. And clearly, Haywood didn't want that. So what does Haywood do? He tries to create something without a soul. And he uses Wanda's chaos magic to do that. Because chaos is impossible to control, yeah, but it's powerful. Powerful enough, like the Mind Stone. Now, we see in the trailer that it's not White Vision who says, who is talking to Wanda when they say, "This is our home, then let's fight for that." It's actually normal Vision. Or normal Vision. Speaking of normal, yeah, the Pietro was definitely just like let's call it an after image of Evan Peters' version of Pietro from the X-Men universe. Because, yeah, when Pietro was around in the when Pietro appeared in the 1980s, 1980s, 1970s, that's when our Pietro, or at least the Pietro of the Foxman universe, was around, whereas the Pietro of our universe was basically just either a baby, not born yet, or dead. So what Agatha did was basically create an after image of another Pietro and pulled that after image through. So I was right. It's very likely that Agatha is using the fake Pietro, or Phaetro as she called it. She's using Phaetro as a guard dog, that as we see with Monica, as we see with what happened with Monica at the end of the last episode. But need I point out, this is the pre-ultimate episode before next week. In other words, wow, we're gonna need a lot of loose ends tied up by the end of next week. Side note, I can't believe it's almost over. From my knowledge, there was no. This is again the very first episode without a commercial break or a commercial to talk about. An actual one. I like I said, I watched this entire episode all the way through the very first time. I would have definitely seen it. Oh, before I forget, yeah, this is just all off the top of my head because I have a few other things I need to get done. And before I forget, there is one amazing thing at the actual end of the episode, not during the post-credits thing, but at the actual end of the episode that is revealed. Wanda is the Scarlet Witch. Now, if you know comics or Marvel in general, you know that, yeah, Wanda Maximoff is the Scarlet Witch. Just like Pietro Maximoff is Quicksilver. But in the MCU, they have not been called either Scarlet Witch or Quicksilver throughout the entire series, throughout the entire time they were in the MCU. That's mostly because of the agreement that Fox had with Disney about the usage of Wanda and Pietro. They could not talk about mutants, nor could they mention Quicksilver or Scarlet Witch as the aliases of Wanda and Pietro, or Pietro and Wanda. So it's really cool how they used Wanda's alias in the comics as like a super title. I'm not entirely sure if like being called the Scarlet Witch is like a super title in the comics, or it's just like the name she goes by or something. I mean, I don't know if it's a super title in the comics that she just uses it as her name, or if it's just like she's the Scarlet Witch, like that's her superhero name. So I really like how they really worked that in. But that's all for me. What did you guys think of the episode? Did you like it? Were you excited? Did it really like I said, this was the first episode I watched all the way through because it has all the kind of things that I really like. And don't get me wrong, I like sitcoms, but the older versions were kind of iffy. And I just like it when there's like a spooky, creepy kind of feel to a sitcom or a TV show. And this is definitely feeling more like Marvel the more I watch it. So, what did you guys think of it? Did you like it? Leave your comments down below. Please comment, like, and subscribe for more. Catch ya on the flip side.